This is Radio Pakistan. The time is 8:20 p.m. The Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Zulfikar Bhutto, addressed a press conference in Karachi this morning. We now bring you a radio report of this press conference. Our reporter is Mukhtar Zaman.
Pakistan's Prime Minister, Mr. Bhutto, had left on a tour of Iran, Turkey and Saudi Arabia on the 16th of October and returned to Karachi yesterday. The program of the Prime Minister's visit to these countries was made all of a sudden, and the reason was obvious: the Arab-Israeli war. When the war started a couple of weeks ago, the Prime Minister was traveling in the rural areas of the Larkana district of Sindh. Immediately after hearing that hostilities had broken out in the Middle East, the Prime Minister cancelled his tour in Sindh, returned post-haste to Islamabad, met the Arab ambassadors and ordered immediate help to the Arabs. It was in pursuance of the same policy that the Prime Minister decided to visit Iran, Turkey and Saudi Arabia. Iran and Turkey are not only close friends of Pakistan, but are also co-members in the RCD. The friendship between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia is also well known. The Prime Minister met the Shah of Iran in Tehran and had talks for several hours. In Ankara, he met the Turkish Prime Minister, Mr. Naim Talu, and his foreign minister. In Riyadh, he met King Faisal. Officials and ministers also participated in these talks. The Prime Minister's visit was guided by his keen desire to stand by the Arabs and to exchange views on the Middle East situation. His tour received a good deal of attention in the diplomatic circles. He was accompanied by Mr. Aziz Ahmad, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Agha Shahi, Foreign Secretary, and the Prime Minister's Special Assistant, Mr. Yusuf Bach. This morning, Prime Minister Bhutto held a press conference in Karachi about his 4-day trip abroad. Here is the record of what the Prime Minister said at the press conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to speak on the Middle Eastern war and to give you the government of Pakistan's point of view on this conflict. I have some points and I will elucidate on them. After that, if you have any questions to ask, I'll be happy to try and answer them. In the first place, the way we look at the Middle Eastern conflict is that the whole of the Muslim world is on trial. This is a test not only for the Arabs, but for the Islamic world. And it is a struggle for justice and equity, to which I shall refer later. But my first point is that this is as much our struggle, this is as much a part of our own destiny as it is of the Arabs in the Middle East. We cannot draw a distinction. Secondly, Pakistan is not a non-aligned state. Pakistan is firmly aligned to the principles of justice and international law and to a durable structure of international peace. We are aligned to principles. We are aligned to convictions. And being aligned, we believe that the principles of justice and equity are on the side of the Arab states. My third point is that the present war in the Middle East shows that an imposed solution, an unacceptable solution, which is an imposed solution, a solution which is not acceptable to the people, cannot endure. It only leads to further strife, bitterness and tension. It also shows that the great powers, neither in concert nor in conflict, can prevent a just war and a just struggle. We have seen that when they have been in conflict and confrontation, they have not been able to prevent people's aspirations for a just struggle. We have also seen that when they act in concert, when they act in harmony, they have been unable to prevent the people's aspirations for the attainment of justice and equity. I repeat, thirdly, in this connection, that Pakistan is uncompromisingly committed to the Arab cause. And I would like to emphasize with all the responsibility at my command that we are doing everything within our power and capacity to uphold the Arab position and to give support, tangible support, to the Arab states in their struggle to liberate Arab territories usurped by Israeli aggression. In this connection, the steps taken by Pakistan government are as follows. Firstly, we summoned the Arab ambassadors to Pakistan on the 7th of October, a day after the hostilities began in Islamabad, and assured them of Pakistan's unwavering support in this crisis and in this war. Secondly, I immediately addressed a letter to the Secretary General of the United Nations stating Pakistan's position and pointing out clearly that a lasting and just peace can only come if Arab territories are vacated and a sincere effort is made to find a viable solution within the framework of the existing United Nations resolution of November 1967. This resolution has international support, and in our opinion, it can form the basis of a durable peace. Fourthly, we addressed letters to heads of Arab states assuring them of our wholehearted support. Fifthly, I convened a meeting and a conference of the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of Pakistan to review the position and to see what Pakistan can do to support the Arab cause and the heroic effort of the Arabs to vindicate their position. Sixthly, yesterday I returned from a visit of Iran, Turkey and Saudi Arabia. My visit to these states was made with the purpose of forging a united approach to the Middle Eastern crisis. This visit was made to Iran and Turkey to consult Pakistan's allies and friends in the formulation of policies in the face of fast developing events and for future course of action. I visited Saudi Arabia to hold discussions on the present Arab position with King Faisal. It is well known to the Arab states that the government of Pakistan is exercising its full weight and influence in their behalf and for the purpose of an honorable peace. We want to help, and we cannot be helpful if our actions complicate an already complex situation. It must be remembered that a war is being waged. Every minute is precious, and every action has to be taken deliberately for the purpose of achieving success. It is not possible for me to make full revelation of all our efforts. I am sure you will appreciate that public interest and the critical exigencies of war cannot permit me to make full and complete revelation of our efforts in a press conference. It is sufficient to state that our efforts have received universal acclaim by the Arab states and all those countries anxious to promote an honorable and peaceful settlement of the present conflict. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a few more observations to make on this war. In the first place, this conflict has shown that the state of no war and no peace is highly detrimental to international order. Secondly, it has shown that vital international disputes cannot be frozen and that a diplomatic stalemate is not an answer to the substantive issues at stake. Thirdly, this war has broken the myth of the invincibility of Israel. Moreover, this war has shown that the Arab people are capable of a heroic struggle and are able to wrest their rights through sacrifice. Another observation that I would like to make is that the objective situation prevailing in 1973 is entirely different from the situation which prevailed in 1956 and in 1967. In this war, Israel has been isolated, and the whole world has rallied round the cause of the Arab states. In Western Europe itself, and in certain responsible circles of the United States, it is appreciated that the unity of the Arab countries and the genuine energy crisis are factors which are relevant to the determination of the Middle Eastern crisis. This war has shown that the Arab states can fight again and again, and that they will continue to fight even after this war if justice is denied on this occasion as well. Correspondingly, it has shown that Israel cannot afford to fight again and again. One defeat for the Arabs does not mean the end of the Arab struggle, as has been shown by the present war. But one decisive defeat of Israel would render Israel incapable of facing Arab encirclement. It is therefore imperative for Israel to seek peace and to withdraw from the territories she has illegally occupied and acquired by conquest from the Arab states. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is in touch not only with the Arab states but with other states as well for the purpose of finding a lasting settlement. We shall continue to make every human effort in this direction. It is well known to the people of Pakistan that I have always espoused the Arab cause and that I have vigorously upheld it in the past and will continue to do so in the future. We know the people of Pakistan have faith in their government and in the successful execution of this jihad. We can assure the people of Pakistan that we who are completely familiar with their sentiments, that we will respect their sentiments and we will do everything in our power to uphold their aspirations. These are some of the comments I wanted to make. Now, I leave it to you. You may ask me any questions. I have already said that I'll be prepared to answer questions within the confines of the present crisis and the requirements of it.
A newsman asked, Pakistan has very close relations with the United States and is a great friend of the Arabs. Is there any diplomatic pressure from the United States to see that Arabs have a ceasefire?
I do not know the meaning of the word pressure in my political dictionary. And the thought of pressure does not enter my mind. You have seen that on the day of the crisis, I have said that it is not relevant to Pakistan what position one great power or the other takes on this crisis. Pakistan will take its own independent, responsible and mature position on this conflict in support of the Arab states. My whole statement has shown to you that we have uncompromisingly and unwaveringly stood by the Arab cause. We have taken positive steps to manifest this. What more is needed for you to ask me this question?
Another correspondent inquired, you have said in your statement that you do not want to release certain details in a press conference. What are the reasons?
Want me to discuss in detail?
No. Just in general terms, sir, what kind of help?
You can draw your own conclusions. We are giving more than political support.
Replying to a question regarding Center, the Prime Minister said,
Cento is not relevant to the Middle Eastern crisis, and I don't think a single Arab state has taken the position that Cento is in any way an impediment to the Arab struggle and to the Arab cause. If Cento were to be an impediment to the vindication of the Arab position, for the achievement of the Arab position, I would not have hesitated to consider that matter.
There was another question. How would you sum up the achievements of your recent visit to the Middle East? In what way will it help in bringing about a peaceful settlement in the Middle Eastern crisis?
We are all the time active. We have been giving some thought to this matter, not only in terms of language and statements, but also as to how we envisage the possibility of a settlement. We have applied our minds to this problem. I can say that please let me finish this. I can say that one positive result of this visit has been that the embryonic idea of plan that we had in our minds has made further progress. And at any relevant time, if necessary, we will be prepared to put it forward if it is to make a contribution for a lasting and an honorable settlement.
A correspondent inquired, you have said the present war is a jihad and it is a religious duty of every Muslim to participate. Will the government permit the people of Pakistan to enroll for jihad?
The support that we have to give to the Arab cause has to be systematic, proper, civilized, and effective. It is not going to a fish market, it is going to a war. And even those other states who have taken a position that you have mentioned, even within the Arab countries, it has not been everyone running helter-skelter here, there, and everywhere, loading himself on the first cargo ship. Even those states which are belligerent and who have forces in those countries, they have taken their decisions and made the participation effective and organized. We believe in effective and organized support. We don't believe in sensationalizing the present situation to draw some political, petty, domestic advantages. This is a war, and war is a serious business. Today it is a regional war. This regional war has the likelihood of expanding into a bigger war. It can engulf at any minute, at any moment, the whole world. That is why responsible countries, the great powers and others, are trying to take as responsible a position as possible on the conflict, with the object of confining the conflict, not enlarging the conflict, and bringing it to an end, provided it achieves durable solution.
The next question was, while you were away on this trip, certain political quarters in the country try to give the impression as if you have been encouraged by one of the superpowers to undertake this visit. Would you like to comment?
Not correct. I categorically deny it. This is our own initiative and this is our own effort.
Replying to a question regarding his intention to visit Syria and Egypt in the recent trip, the Prime Minister said,
certainly. And my idea was originally to visit both Damascus and Cairo. But while I was in Saudi Arabia, as a matter of fact, while we were in Ankara and we were to leave for Saudi Arabia, we were informed that certain leaders of the great powers, or a certain leader of a great power, was to visit Cairo and after that Damascus. My visit would have coincided with the visit of this leader of a great power to Cairo and Damascus. And certainly the Egyptian leaders and the Syrian leaders were much more engrossed in their discussions with the leader of a great power at this time. They were fully engrossed in the battle, and they were also fully engaged in their discussions with the leader of a great power, of a superpower. And so the Syrian president sent me to Saudi Arabia, our ambassador, who fully briefed me on the situation and carried a message from the Syrian president to me. We have responded positively to his message, and so for this reason it was not possible for me to visit Cairo and Damascus, as my visit coincided with this all-important visit of another great, of a leader from a great power.
A pressman inquired, Could you gather the Arab position of the ceasefire during your meeting with King Faisal of Saudi Arabia?
The Arab position has been clearly stated by the Arab leaders. When I went to discuss with King Faisal the Arab position, it is not that we were not aware of this position. This position has been internationally expressed. We went to discuss the diplomatic efforts and diplomatic initiatives that can be taken both during the war and after the war. In other words, the conversation had a more sophisticated bearing than to know the factual Arab position which has come out in the United Nations and which has come out on the radio.
A newsman asked, do you think our support to the Arabs will not affect the US aid to Pakistan?
Why should it? And if it does, we have to make sacrifices.
Another question was, did you discuss during your visit to Iran and Saudi Arabia the question of continued oil supply to Pakistan?
No reason to feel concerned about it at the moment. But of course, war has its own rules. And I cannot speak emphatically for future developments. But taking things as they are at the moment, there is no need to feel concerned on this problem, and there is no need to indulge in speculation in yet another commodity of the country.
One correspondent inquired, how do you visualize the present Middle East war to affect the policy of American-Soviet détente?
We are not against a genuine and a sincere détente in international détente. Please do not think that we are opposed to a genuine and international détente for world peace based on justice. But it is too early yet to say whether to what extent the détente will be affected by the present Middle East conflict. Undoubtedly, the détente now stands in the balance, and time will tell. It depends on when a ceasefire is effected, how soon it is effected, under what conditions a ceasefire comes into being. Those will be relevant considerations in determining the fate of the détente.
In reply to a question, the Prime Minister reaffirmed Pakistan's support to the Arab brethren and said,
we want to give effective and telling and important support. We want to give organized support. We don't want to make a show, and we don't want to dramatize and sensationalize matters. The Arabs are fully satisfied. Now, when the Arabs are fully satisfied with the support Pakistan is giving to them, certainly there must be support being given to them, and certainly that support must be of a quantum which not only has satisfied them, but they have expressed appreciation to us for the support we have given. I'll give you an example of what you are saying. I have seen in some of the press statements that appeals have been made that we should raise funds for the conflict. Now this is one, I'm just giving you another example of the same thing. Like you said, the reservists must be sent. Now it has been said that we should raise funds. I'll be only honored and happy to make an appeal to the poor people of Pakistan to raise funds. They've just raised funds for the floods. But Pakistani people make sacrifices. And if I make an appeal to the people of Pakistan to raise funds for this Middle Eastern conflict, I'm sure the poor people of Pakistan will respond generously to the campaign. But this is one part of the world where funds are not lacking. The Middle East is one part of the whole world where funds are in abundance, where there is no need for any part of the world to supply them funds. The Middle East provides funds to the rest of the world. The Middle East today is providing funds, or is capable of providing funds, even to the United States. I mean, in terms of wanting to make investments in Western Europe, the Middle East can provide funds to the Western Europe. Now, when appeals like that are made to collect funds for the Middle East, and the Middle East is overflowing with funds, but I'm saying that kind of military support is as relevant as asking for a campaign for funds, because even funds can be useful. It is a question of the priorities and the method of giving those funds and of method of giving a support.
Another newsman wanted to know, after discussing Arab-Israeli war issue with the heads of states of friendly countries, do you intend consulting the political leaders in the country?
Security considerations and considerations of delicate diplomacy demand a certain extent of secrecy. These matters are by their very nature confidential. They cannot be unconfidential. Our security interests are involved, our diplomatic interests are involved, and also the human factor, lives are involved. Everything must be taken into account. We cannot be ramrodded and steamrolled into that kind of thinking which stems either from lack of knowledge of the facts, or lack of knowledge of the state of affairs, or perhaps for certain other considerations. But we cannot allow ourselves to be steamrolled into that position. I have said to you repeatedly and again that we are doing all in our power and capacity. I think this should be sufficient. And secondly, you must take into account the attitude of not only my government, my party, as I said here, and our position right from 1948, the position that we have taken, the way that we have looked upon this Middle Eastern conflict. All these are very relevant considerations. They pay less importance to you than to political leaders. Journalists to me are equally important. They are responsible people. They disseminate information. And the fact that our personal relations with one or the other might be better or worse, but a journalist, as journalists, are as important and as valuable to a society as our politicians. When I cannot reveal to you these matters, these confidential matters, that's why they are confidential, I cannot reveal it to another privileged or thinking part of the society either.
The next question was, having visited Iran and Turkey, and especially Saudi Arabia, would you like to visualize when the peace is likely to return to the area?
No, I can't say that. I'd have an idea, but if I give you that, then if it's not correct by an hour or a day, you will hold me up to it.
A newsman inquired, knowing that the United States is supporting the Israel cause, while we still have good relations with America, can we have your comment on this?
Here I'm expressing so forcefully Pakistan's position. I've done it in the past since the conflict arose. Our position has been stated quite clearly. I've expressed Pakistan's position in Tehran, in Ankara, in Saudi Arabia, and this is our position. And we uphold our position uninfluenced by the position that other countries take. We are a Muslim state. We belong to the Islamic world. There are certain compulsions, certain factors which draw us to the Middle East and Arab side because we are Muslims, because we come from this part of the world, because we are part of the Islamic civilization. And we have taken our position quite independent of that of other countries. It is well known, it's known from the beginning. The United States belongs to the Christian civilization. It's a Christian country, it's a Judo-Christian country. Judaistic Christian countries, as much as Muslim sentiments draw us to the Muslim state, their sentiments draw them to their part. This is the position they took in 1948. You are aware of the whole history of the creation of Israel. This is not a new position the United States has taken. In 1948 they supported Israel. They supported the creation of Israel in the United Nations. They supported Israel in the 1967 conflict. They have stood by Israel. They have given guarantees to Israel for the survival of Israel and for the territorial integrity of Israel. U.S. policy on Israel is well known. Pakistan has had relations with the United States in the past from 1947, knowing this policy. It's not that it's a new policy. Knowing this policy, Pakistan has had relations with the United States in 1947. Knowing this policy, Pakistan joined CENTO and NATO. Knowing this policy, Pakistan joined the other alliances. Knowing this policy, there was PL-480 wheat which came to Pakistan in the past. Knowing this policy, we expressed appreciation for United States support in the floods and all that has happened. This is not a new development. We take our position. We are entitled as a sovereign state to take our position. We have taken that position. Other states are entitled to take their position. They are entitled to take their position. The art and skill of diplomacy arises is to find a viable, lasting solution in the context of different positions. How to draw different countries holding different positions to one position. This is where diplomacy comes in. This is where the skill of efforts are brought into play. Because if all countries held the same position, there would be no need to taking diplomatic initiatives and making efforts. It is because the world is divided. It is because different states have taken different positions. Now, therefore, we are called upon to try and achieve justice in the Middle East by reconciling the different positions of different states. This is the positive effort that we have to make. If peace could be achieved by recrimination and by abuse and slander, then I will tell you, we'll get up from the first pulpit and indulge in abuse, slander and recrimination. But we believe that at this moment of time, when history is being made and unmade, it is that we do not indulge in irresponsible recrimination. As much as other countries should respect us for taking our position, we cannot influence other countries not to take their historical position according to their likes. All our efforts can be to see where are the common elements, the common factors between our position, their position, the world position, and try and marry those in the interest of world peace and order.
A United Nations reporter inquired, "What do you say about United Nations' role in achieving the peaceful settlement of the Middle East crisis?"
Soviet Union's position is a positive position. In our opinion, it is a positive position. And we wish you success in making your efforts to achieve lasting peace. And we wish you success in making your efforts to achieve lasting peace. We are making our efforts. We wish you success in making your efforts. We hope that at some stage we can also see how we can further jointly make further efforts, because our position is similar on this crisis.
And the last question was, in your opinion, do you think the Iranian and Turkish governments will extend support to the Arabs?
We learned from the Turkish leaders that in spite of their membership of NATO and other connections with the West, that in many ways they have taken a constructive position. Now I can't tell you all that they have done, because as I told you, that we are bound by certain international laws, international norms on these matters. But I was, in my discussions in Turkey, when I was informed of some of the steps that the Turkish government has taken, I found those steps to be quite satisfactory and positive. Thank you very much.
This is Radio Pakistan. The time is 9:30 p.m. The Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, addressed the businessmen and industrialists in Karachi this evening. On this occasion, Governor, State Bank, provincial ministers, secretaries, and other high officials were present. Here is a recording of the Prime Minister's address.
Mr. Finance Minister, Governor of the State Bank, ministers, secretaries, my friends. If you recall, this meeting has been arranged on your request. The last time we met in Lahore, after the nationalization of vegetable ghee industry, I had assured you, as a result of the conversations we had, that sometime towards the end of the year, I will call a conference of you gentlemen, and we will try to resolve this uncertainty prevailing in the private sector about the scope of government's activities and actions in the field of industry and generally in the economic sphere. I have not had the advantage of hearing the discussions which took place here today. On coming here, I asked the finance minister and the governor of the State Bank to give me a brief account of the discussions you have had in this meeting. Of course, I have seen the memorandum which has been circulated and given to us for study and scrutiny. Finance Minister has spoken on the memorandum. If I were to touch upon the main points, let us say that in evolving a charter and in bringing about an understanding on the role of the public and the private sector, you will have a full latitude to have this discussion with the Finance Minister and the Secretary General of Economic Affairs. And this charter, once it has been settled, will be followed. Now, point is that some of you have raised the question that why only up to the next elections? Why not beyond the next elections? The answer to that is very simple. We want to be straight and fair with you. Even if I were to give an assurance beyond the next elections, I will not be in a position to fulfill that assurance. It would have been the line of least resistance, perhaps pleasing to some of you, if I had said, yes, of course, we are prepared to go beyond that, we are prepared to go till the end of time. But I know that it will not be fair for me to say that, because time will pass, days will go by, and time will come when all parties will get together, they will frame their new manifestos, and in the light of that, a party like ours cannot say that we cannot frame an election manifesto. I would, however, like to see that we do consolidate, and that there is no need for any arbitrary or surgical operation. One would like to see that too. So it's not that we are craving to immediately, on fulfilling this manifesto, to immediately chalk out a new one and start on that one. That's not the point. The point is that when elections will be held, at that time, as I said, I will be in the hands of the party and of the Central Committee, and they will frame the manifesto in the light of the conditions in the country and in the light of what other parties are pledging to the people in their election campaign. So for this simple reason, and straightforwardly, it's not possible for me to go beyond that, although I could say this much, that we would like to see that matters settle down and economic progress takes place and economic activities is accelerated. On the constitutional question, after 25 years, we have given the country a constitution. There will be need, I suppose, for consequential amendments not of a fundamental character. This happens in all constitutions. After the constitution, some practical difficulties are envisaged. At the time of framing of the constitution, concentration is on agreement, consensus, and on fundamental matters, and for that reason it becomes necessary to make amendments of a consequential nature to facilitate the running of the constitution. Amendments of those kinds are inevitable, and we can consider them. But the point, I'll give an example. For instance, the Senate and the National Assembly, they're all supposed to meet for 130 days. But it's not necessary for the Senate to meet also for 130 days, because the Senate does not have money bills. So a shorter duration for the Senate will be understandable, but it's not a substantive amendment. So amendments of that nature we can consider at this time. But the Constitution, after great difficulty, has been passed 1 year ago only, hardly a year ago, last August. And as I said, after 25 years of very tragic history. And it would not be right and proper to play around again with the fundamental provisions of the Constitution. At this stage, later on, after 2, 3 years, 5 years, I'm sure other amendments will be necessary to improve the Constitution according to the changing conditions. But your main problem, the burning problem which is agitating your minds, is one I'd like to immediately turn to, and that is the question of compensation. You have said that there should be fair compensation, there should be expeditious compensation, and on that we are prepared to work out this arrangement that there should be fair compensation for industry national. This much I can say. This is the main problem. I've discussed the question with many industrialists. I've told them that why don't you understand that we cannot give any emphatic commitments about nationalization? The whole world is changing, and I told some of them that there was an industrialist who came to me one day and said, do you mind if I invest in Afghanistan? This is before the change in Afghanistan. And now he doesn't want to invest in Afghanistan. So the point is that who can say whether what's going to happen? But I said that this problem of compensation, that one we are prepared to discuss, and we'll come to a settlement on a fair basis of compensation. I don't want to go into details now. Why the procedure, whether it should be justiciable or not justiciable, provided it is fair, you should be happy. And a formula of fair basis of compensation on the basis that is arrived at, break-up value and all that, whatever the arrangement, the yardstick and the criterion are. So that much we are prepared to. Those suggestions, the finance minister tell me about the tripartite conference that you have had, those suggestions we are prepared to again sit and consider with you. And we'll see what can be done, which is fair and right. On the question of taxation also, it's always under review at every budget time, and we hope that we can come to a settlement on that as well. Nobody likes to overtax the citizen. People like to give relief as far as possible, If relief is possible, if government can earn more through import and export duties, and some measure of relief is possible, we are prepared to consider these things, certainly. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Earlier, the Federal Minister for Finance, Dr. Mubashir Hassan, replying to the address of welcome, said,
"Thank you, Mr. President. Now that the Prime Minister will be here, he's going to give his opinion on what has been said. I would like to be as frank with you as you have been with me. I'm very glad that you are happy that we have a constitution. It is indeed very fortunate for Pakistan to have a constitution after 26 years of its existence. We are very happy that there is a constitution. We have done our bit to bring this constitution, but the credit for the constitution goes to the people of Pakistan and the Prime Minister in whose leadership we got the constitution. But once we have the constitution, we must learn to respect the constitution. Constitution is something which is not easily changed. Constitution is something for the life of the nation. There are very few amendments made in the Constitution. Constitution is not a law on which you generally, every year you bring an amendment or you repeal the law. So Constitution is a permanent thing. Constitution is for a nation state. Constitution is a sacred document. So let us all work within the framework of the Constitution, which the elected representatives of the people formulated unanimously, and which was welcomed by the overwhelming mass, almost all the masses of Pakistan, and which you yourself have welcomed. So I believe that as far as the Constitution goes, those who believe in the concept of Pakistan, they are all for the Constitution. Now the Constitution lays down several very important things. Constitution lays down that this is going to be a democratic country. Constitution lays down that the government is to be by those who are elected by the people in free and impartial elections. Those who are elected by the people will have a tenure for a certain period. That after a certain period they must go and get a fresh mandate from the people again. Now it means this, that you know how elections take place. Various parties, various groups frame their manifesto and they say that this is what we'll give you. People of Pakistan, this is what we'll give you. And then people of Pakistan vote and they elect a party into government who in their opinion comes nearest to their aspirations. So now what has happened is this, that we gave a manifesto to the people of Pakistan. The manifesto was only a piece of paper until the elections were not held. The day elections were held, and on the basis of that manifesto, the people of Pakistan elected the Pakistan People's Party into power, that manifesto belongs to the people of Pakistan. That manifesto is our promise to the people of Pakistan. It is not possible for any political party, and it should not be expected from any politician with a little bit of honor left in him to ask him that please go back on your manifesto. This manifesto is something, please change this manifesto because it doesn't suit us. Please tell me, can that be done? Is there a political party anywhere in the history of democratic countries where a party says in the midst of term that we have changed our manifesto? Look, we made a mistake. People of Pakistan, we got your vote on this manifesto, but now we don't believe in this manifesto. You carry on your businesses, you carry on your industry, you go according to certain established rules, according to certain market mechanisms, according to certain pricing pattern, and you expect everybody to understand we are businessmen, we only work for profit. If there is no profit in this system, capitalist system, there is no reason for existence. No, our shares will go down, our shareholders will vote us out of office, and this and that. We work only for profit. Well, so do the politicians. They also have rules, and the rules are that the promise you have made to the people, those promises have got to be fulfilled. And a good reason, very good reason will have to be shown why promises have not been fulfilled, why manifesto has not been implemented. Each election has its own manifesto, and therefore it is incumbent on a political party, on any political party, to implement its manifesto. So I would beg of you, I would most humbly and respectfully submit to you that when you make a demand that we should scrap the manifesto, that we should change our manifesto, we change our stand in the manifesto, that not only manifesto, you say please change the constitution of Pakistan. The constitution which has been approved, which has been passed by over every party, has voted for it, which was debated for months and months and months, every clause was voted. You say, now change this constitution because it doesn't suit us businessmen, your constitution, and because this has led to a stalemate, and that you say, we don't believe you unless you change the constitution, therefore this our confidence will not return. Now, I request you, please examine it most impartially, most cool-headedly. Is it a fair demand? You have said that there is a stalemate. Stalemate with whom? How can anybody have stalemate with elected representatives of the people? Either you say you don't believe in democracy. We don't believe in democratically elected government, and therefore we want a stalemate with this government. Is that the stand? No. You want democracy, you like constitution, and there is a popularly elected government, you want to have a stalemate with this government? I can understand those gentlemen of the business community for whom it doesn't make any difference whether they live in Karachi or London or New York or Rome, who have apartments there, who have migrated there, but certainly from a large majority of yours, business community, who likes to live in Pakistan, who likes to see Pakistan prosper, who likes to see that Pakistan is made a better place for the future generations to come, they certainly can't, we can't have a stalemate.
Prime Minister and the Federal Minister for Finance addressed the industrialists and businessmen in Karachi this evening. You have just heard a recording of the addresses. With that, Radio Pakistan closes this special national hookup.